turn it on. Did I mention I'm a professional speaker? Thank you. Hi. Do you want to explain the man bun now, or do you want me to keep moving? It's a rhetorical question. I'm not explaining it to you. You just figure it out for yourself. I'm a 42-year-old man with a man bun. Figure out my problems. So, speaking of problems, I'm also Canadian. Thank you for that. One person clapping. Thank you, Mom. All the way from Canada. I've brought a, is this a cap? Is this, okay, good. Oh, look how creepy this is now. How are you? You're regretting sitting here now, aren't you? And you guys are looking at my ass. So I'm going to move back. I bring a message from Canada. I represent the country, and I'm bringing a message from Canada to you, America. What's up? You guys okay? Doing okay? All right. It's also rhetorical. When I ask a question, by the way, don't answer it out loud. So I'm just kidding. You can answer it if you want. And thank you for the A, by the way. So I've always, I never get that joke from the audience when I say I'm Canadian. Yeah, exactly. It makes us so, we don't like any of you, by the way. We talk about you behind your back when you walk out. So we're polite to your face, but it's really cold up in Canada, so we move on. But what I talk about is the unworld, unmarketing, unbranding, and unselling. And what I mean by that stuff is like unbranding. What that means is your brand isn't what you say it is. It's what the customer is, what the public says. So when I say a word, whatever that is, whatever comes first, that's what the brand is. So when I say Canada and somebody says, hey, well, that's your thought of Canadians. And I used to say Toronto. I was from Canada, I was from Toronto, and 5-6 years ago, more than 10 years ago, when I'd say on stage I'm from Canada, people would say, oh, that's adorable, right? It's polite, it's adorable, they're all kind. And I would say, what are you talking about, A? And people would, then I would say 5 years ago from Toronto. Do you remember what Toronto's mayor did? So I'd say I'm from Toronto, and somebody in the back would say, do you smoke crack with your mayor? I'd be like, no. Not anymore. No, I don't. It's too much heat on him now. Right? I'm like, you guys don't understand. Wait till you have somebody leading you who says dumb stuff, and then you'll be totally zing. So, on with the show. So, let me bring those slides back up for a second. And I wanted to give you an example of this, of branding, of seeing a logo, because your mind does two things when you see a logo. You think of the last time you had an experience with the brand, if you have, or the most extreme experience with the brand, or one you've heard, right? That goes for you, by the way, as well, when they see a sign, when they see the logo. So when you see the Ritz-Carlton logo, give me the first word that immediately popped into your head. Luxury, expensive, service. Nobody said hotel. That's cool. Now, one of you said a severed lion's head impaled on a crown, which is what it is if you look at the logo. And when I see it, though, I think of the last time I stayed at the Ritz-Carlton, and I think of Joshi. Now, Joshi is a stuffed giraffe, and he was left at the Ritz-Carlton Amelia Island in Florida by a child. Did I have to say child? Did you just assume it was a child and not a 65-year-old man leaving a... That would be weird. So the family went home to Phoenix, and they realized they forgot Joshi, their kid's favorite thing. What happens when your kid loses their favorite thing? You hear that mumble? That's parents in the room right now. How many of you have kids that you know about? That you'd stake claim to in a court of law anytime. We have 5 children. I think. I don't know. It's hard to count them, head count, and we move on. But you know, you freak out. You panic. So the father did what any good father would do, and he lied to his son. And he said that Joshi was on an extended vacation. And he's sure to return home soon, which is a great idea, Dad, except now you bought yourself like a week. And then you either got to find him or learn how to sew or find another one. So he calls up the Ritz-Carlton in a panic, and not only did they find him, he was rolled up in the sheets, in the actual bed. He was found by somebody working in the laundromat, and the front desk person then held on to him. Not only did they find him, and not only did they overnight him home to the awaiting child at no cost to the family, but they also sent back photos of his extended vacation. I want you to look to your left and to your right for 1 second, and if the person beside you is not smiling, change seats. I don't think they're the one you should be hanging out with. See? Work the content with the brand. So, I don't even get cucumbers on my eyes, by the way, when I go to a spa. This is Joshy by the pool. Joshy meeting new friends at the bar. That dolphin is inappropriate. I know I stand between you and happy hour right now, so at happy hour, when you're standing in a circle of your fellow real estate professional and you can't spot the inappropriate dolphin, you're the inappropriate dolphin. And we are in a city of inappropriate dolphins. I actually saw an actual dolphin walking up the strip, I believe. This is Joshy working loss prevention because he has to pay for his stay. And now that he's an employee of the Ritz-Carlton, they had to give him a laminated ID badge. If you didn't say "ah" just now, you're what's known in the industry as a psychopath with no human emotion whatsoever. They took Joshy, the photos, the ID badge, and a letter from the general manager and overnighted it back to the awaiting family. When I say Ritz-Carlton, you don't have to applaud. It wasn't me. Yeah, so when I say Ritz-Carlton, what word comes to mind? The story, service, Joshy. Do you see how your view of a brand can change and it didn't even occur to you? Brands are built a lot of the times on the stories we tell as customers. Do you think this applies to you and your brand? Do you think this applies to Realty One? You think? Because it does. What do you think the father did when he got the package? Other than change his pants, what did he do? He told everybody, right? He told his neighbors, he put it on Facebook, he blogged about it, which is where I'd read about the story originally. He phoned people, I need something more relatable to real estate. He faxed people about it. No fax jokes, I'm sorry. It's a sensitive topic, I know. It's 1998, people, we gotta get with the times. I once had a realtor, by the way, say I had to fax them back our signed contract. So I signed it and I put it in a PDF because it was 2016 at the time. And I emailed it to him. And he's like, "I'm sorry, Scott, I can't accept that. I need you to fax me the original." You almost didn't laugh. You're like, yes, of course he has to. Yeah. The original doesn't go through I'm not going to explain fax technology, but but that's the thing. Every brand wants word of mouth. Every brand wants to go viral, but we're not willing usually to do what it takes, which is doing things worth talking about. How much does this story cost the Ritz-Carlton? Nothing. How much do they pay me every time I tell this story on stage? $4,000, exactly. No, it's not. It's $5,000. But I tell this story around the world. This is all I do for a living. I do 70 keynotes a year. I did, like I said, the Buffini tour last year, over 10,000 realtors. I speak around the world. What I'm trying to say is I don't have a job. This is all I do. But I tell it everywhere because it's an amazing story. We opened this story in our book called Unselling, bought by tens of thousands of people. This story gets told about them everywhere, costs them nothing. But the key to this story isn't just the story. It's who was the actual writers of the story. It wasn't the CEO of Ritz-Carlton. It wasn't the VP of marketing of Ritz-Carlton. It was the front desk clerk and somebody in the laundromat. The writers of the brand stories are a lot of the times the front lines. The people that interact with the people, the customers. Does that make sense? The people, maybe you guys have somebody answering the phone for you. How many of you have somebody answering phone or some kind of admin help with you? Hands up. 7 of you. Okay, good. So it's a great percentage. You 7 are doing well, I guess. So the rest of you, keep striving. So, rock stars. Maybe folk singers right now, but one day. So, but the difference is, so now when I see the Ritz-Carlton logo, I don't think of a lion, I think of a giraffe. That's what the brand is to me. $1 billion brand can be changed, good or bad, by those front lines. That's what we remember. And what the interactions with you affect interactions with somebody in another city under the banner of Realty One. You affect the brand of the entire place by what you do. If I see a sign on a front lawn and I see it, I'm like, oh, I dealt with that person, and they were either good or bad. There's no such thing as a neutral brand interaction. Every phone call, every email, every text, every in-person meeting makes the brand go up or down. That's how this stuff happens, because you're the brand. Does this look creepy at all? It's slightly creepy. So we had this made for that book on selling, and we have it up home as a poster in our office at home, our home office. And so the co-author of the books and the co-owner of UnMarketing and the co-host of our podcast is also my co-host in life. It's my wife, Allison. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to have that in my world. And we have this up, like I said, at our home office, which is also our bedroom. It's weird. It's so weird sometimes. Like, I'm in bed, I'm like, I know I'm the brand. I know. How's my branding? Like, that's how this works. So, but you are, everybody that works with you, for you, plus, and this is a big thing for your industry, anybody you refer is also an extension of your brand. If you refer an agent in another city, because it happens all the time, right? You're going somewhere else, you have your long-standing client, you've spent years, decades with building that relationship, and they're moving farther outside of your area, and you're like, we have somebody in our group there, or they go farther out, and you don't have somebody, you refer them to somebody else. That's an extension of you. That's an extension of the brand. Well, we need a moving company. We need a home stager. We need anything service, accountant, anything, financial planner. Extension of you. That's why, for me, referrals should never be given based on what referral bonus I get because of it. I know there's things, they're called, it's like a kickbacks, whatever it is, it's bonuses, gift cards, whatever you get. I don't ever want a referral to happen because of that. I want it to happen because they're the best person for my clients. And if something comes with that, awesome. But I'm trying to do the best for my clients, every referral, and it comes back to haunt people if we don't do it well and don't do it right. The problem is, these days, communication doesn't just happen through the phone and in person. Marketing and social media stuff, it just goes nuts. There's so many places. There's so many places. It's overwhelming. Anybody feel overwhelmed by the number of places and platforms online? Yes? Oh, great. 7 of you again. What the hell's wrong with the rest of you? You have no assistant. You already said that. You got all the time to go on the tweezer and the book face? Do you? It's not called that. You're not even laughing. So, I'll talk to you about it on Chap Snat. So, oh, you got that joke. Good. I can't keep up with all these platforms. And like I said, I don't have a job. My only job is to stay on top of these. And I'm here to tell you today that I can say with authority that you don't have to be everywhere here. You don't have to be on these platforms. And here's a secret. You don't have to be on any of them. You can live your entire life in real estate and never touch these and do really well. Can they work? Yeah. Can they help you? Sure. But they're just tools. They're just tools. It's what the person does with the tools. And I could speak intelligently about these because I live in this space. I have 185,000 followers on Twitter. I've tweeted over 110,000 times. Okay? All manually. And that number of followers and $11 gets me a margarita downstairs. Right? So that's we have over 65,000 people on the UnMarketing Facebook page. I have over 9,000 connections on LinkedIn, and I only know 4 people in real life. I don't know who these people are, but it makes up for my lack of popularity in high school, so it's wonderful. The problem is we feel a pressure. Do you guys feel a pressure to be using this a lot? Can it help? Yes, it can. And if you are using it well, keep doing it. But don't bow to that pressure if you don't want to, or you don't want to do all of them. I'd rather you do 1 or 2 well instead of 5 in a mediocre fashion. And I know, because I live on these things. The problem is we think we have to. And usually if somebody is telling you you have to be on it, it's because they're selling you the service to help you on it. I have nothing to sell you. I don't consult. You can't hire me. I stopped consulting 6 years ago because I hate people. Not you, like everybody. And Vegas makes it worse, right? Especially in the evening. So it's not you, it's me, and it's you. So this is the issue. So I have no vested interest in you either liking this or not liking these. And I'm telling you, you don't have to. I'd rather you focus on your clients. Now, if your clients happen to be using this a lot and they like to communicate through it, let's look at it. But if not, don't bow to that pressure. And the problem is we have this pressure. It's gotten real dark and intimate in here now. Yeah, great. Well, a couple people were getting a little rowdy over there. So, yeah, we'll keep them up a bit. It is Vegas. So the problem is the pressure is like, Scott, we got to be on these platforms. We have to be there because the millennials are coming. The millennials are coming, and we have to prepare like it's some alien ship that'll be landing in 2021, and we have to prepare the pantry for them coming. Okay? When we say millennials, we don't even know what that means. Millennials are actually right now between the ages of 19 and 36. Who in this room is between 19 and 36? Hands up. Oh, God, you're here. Okay, I was told it would be only fellow old people, so I'm going to have to rework the talk a bit. Okay, so millennials in this room, I want to give you a secret, a kind of behind the curtain of us old people, of what we think, okay? Of what we think about you. When we say the term millennials, working with you, hiring you, selling you a home, what we mean is people younger than us, and we don't like you. There is nothing else after that sentence. There is no further commentary there. Fellow old people, am I making this up or am I telling the truth? Correct. By a show of applause if I'm telling the truth, yes? Eat it, millennials. So, it's not you, it's us. See, we don't have pity because when you get stressed out, it doesn't match the stress we faced. You get it, like the only time I see my kids is when the Wi-Fi goes down. They come out of the room, it's like, is the Wi-Fi down? Who am I kidding? I'm coming out of the room. Is the Wi-Fi down, children? Can you reset the doohickey? With the thing and the, do that? Could you do it for? I don't know. Okay, who are you? Oh, you're one of our kids. I'll text you later. Okay, good. But you're like, I can't stream my Spotify playlist when the Wi-Fi goes down. Like, do you have any idea how we used to make a playlist back in our day? Play, record, and pause on the Ghetto Blaster. And we didn't know what song was coming. Is that Belle Biv DeVoe Poison? I think it's Belle Biv DeVoe Poison. Right, again, go! Top 8 at 8. This is number 4. This is number 4 tonight. If the DJ would shut up for a second and not talk over my damn song. It's not about you, DJ. It's not about you. Right? It's like, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Nice. And then you think it's upsetting when your phone dies. Have you ever had a mixtape die? Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bow. No! And you pull out the tape and it's a spider web. And you're like, somebody give me a pencil. And if you got the pencil joke, we just became best friends. And if you didn't, get out. Get out of the room. I'd also accept Bic Pen for the answer as well. And the problem is millennials are running around now, woo, and saying we're innovators, we're disrupting, we've created all this new technology. Look, we created virtual reality where you can live inside this headset. I'm like, no, we made that. Crooked. That's better. That's better. You're like, yeah, Scott, but we made things that can talk to you inside the home. I'm like, wrong again. Thank you very much. And don't get me started on my retirement investment. It's not going well right now, if I can word it properly. But this is the thing. In all seriousness, the problem is generational stereotyping. That's the problem, that we try to label an 18-year swath of people in anything. I was from originally the worst generation at the time in history. I'm from Gen X. Who in this room is Xers with me? I'll walk by, you see in the casino, we'll just flash the sign. You guys won't see it, we'll be like, what's up? We know, okay? We know. But that's the thing, my generation was lazy, entitled, right? Lack of work ethic, lack of focus. Sound familiar? I'm still proudly that, by the way. It's still my dream in life, is to be like that. Every generation despises the younger generation. Here's the problem. They're so terrible, who raised them? We did. If my kids are terrible, which they're not, they're the only good 5 children in the world, it's our fault. So we're blaming our own handiwork. That doesn't make any sense. This is the problem. Okay, look, what we don't like is young people. It's very simple, because they're young, right? I've seen entire industries based on this millennial thing now. I saw a blog post that said millennials don't like meetings. Nobody likes meetings. Of any age, of any demographic, okay? Millennials are just naive enough to think they don't have to attend meetings. I find it adorable. They have something we don't have anymore: hope. It'll go away. You just have to naturally let it erode on its own, slowly. It's like water hitting a stone, but it's their heart. And it turns into stone after a few years of the workplace. I remember my first day in the workplace, I've got my first corporate gig after graduating college, and I went there and I was just happy, and they're like, hey, why are you so happy? And I think they said, why are you so happy? It was more like, why are you so happy? And I'm like, this is awesome, I love it. They're like, that'll change. And I'm like, and they just did this. And they just walked away, and then that became me. So this is the biggest difference, the biggest change has not been generational from my observations. It's been communication methodology. But that's not generational, that's humans. Different people like to communicate different ways. And since you are in the people business, since you are in the service business, since you are in the business of building trust with clients and potential clients, our job is to make sure we're matching their communication preference. The only communication preference that matters is the one paying the bill. So if your client likes to email, then you email with them. If they want to text, then text. If they want to fax, they're weird. But that's it. If they rather Facebook message, I would like you to at least consider it. Now, mind you, I know a lot of you love the phone. Okay, and I know the advantages of the phone. I understand the advantages in the sales process and in the information. A phone call can beat 25 emails sometimes. But if they're comfortable with email, then you will pitch that communication method in the email saying, hey, Scott, do you have time for a 5-10 minute phone call? We could probably answer a bunch of these much quicker than email. I'd love to talk to you. Let me know. Instead of just phoning me when I didn't expect that. Because this happens. I hate the phone. That goes along with me hating the people part. I hate the phone. I emailed my dentist 2 years ago. 2 years ago. I emailed them, said, I'd like to come in next week for a cleaning. Wednesday, Thursday is totally open. I don't have a job, so whatever time you want is fine. And I hopped on a flight to do a gig in Miami. And I landed, and my voicemail notification popped up. And the only reason I check my voicemail is to get rid of the voicemail notification number on my phone. Where a few of you do that as well. And I listen, and it says, hey, Scott, it's the dentist. Give us a call back, and we'll book that appointment. I still haven't called them back. It's been 2 years. My teeth are hideous. But it's principle. Like my mom texts me. She's 71. Now, mind you, she ends each line of text with Mom. This entire side of the room's not laughing. Talk to your children. They'll tell you what's going on. And I text her back. I'm like, Ma, you don't have to sign each line of text. Your name's at the top. I know it's you. And she writes back, I'm your mother. I can do whatever I please. Mom. Turns out she's right. She can't do whatever she pleases. So that's the difference. I want us to look at how we communicate, and are we communicating in a way that we like, or are we communicating in a way that our clients want? I want us to think about that for a second, because you would go so much smoother in the communication in the game. Now I want to tell you a little story about the unrealtor. Now, one of my jobs, as I did last year with those 10,000 realtors, and what I've been doing for years, my job across this fine continent is to yell at realtors. It's not that I don't like you. It's that I don't like you. Not you personally. I don't like how your industry markets itself, because you really love your face. And understand something. I am a keynote speaker. I thought I loved my face the most, and I have a man bun, right? Your faces are everywhere. The bus shelter advertising industry thanks you. The billboard industry loves you. You keep the newspaper industry afloat. It's amazing how it works, but the problem is you say it's about the house and about the people and the clients, but we make it all about us. So not a lot of realtors want to talk to me. They don't want to be my realtor because I'm kind of, I don't know how to word it. I'm an asshole to them, and they don't want to be. So I'm going to rewind you 2 years ago, and I'm doing a talk in my hometown in Oakville, Ontario, and I'm talking to the local area's real estate board, and I'm losing it because it's not that the reason why I really get on top of your industry is because you have such an opportunity with both online and off to be about community. But to me, community is a verb. It's what we do with the community. It's not just sponsoring a soccer team or a baseball or Little League or a Pop Warner or anything like that. It's about really caring about the community. And so I was giving this talk, and a realtor was standing at the back of the room, amazingly enough, at a real estate talk. And he stood at the back of the room, he said, him. I want to be his realtor. He didn't actually point and say him in the room, but he's like thinking him. So he decides not to approach me, because everybody else did. He went off and did some research. Like he went underground to like an underground like black market site nobody's heard of called LinkedIn and looked it up. LinkedIn's not a black market. You're not laughing at that? It's a social media business site. So he went and researched. Then he watched the UnPodcast, the business show for the Fed Up that Allison and I do. But then he realized we also do another podcast called The Vegas 30. We love Vegas. I frickin' love this city. This is my yeah, thank you. I'm so hungover. No, I'm kidding. This is my 70th time here. And a bunch of them have been for work, though. Like at least 5 of them have been for work, so it's like balanced. So, no, really, we love it. We had a realtor show us a condo here at Veer. We're ready to pull the trigger in 6 to 8 years. So he's tickled pink about that. And by the way, I'm sorry, we were driving around here a couple years ago when houses were $9. And we're driving around Summerlin, and we're thinking of yes, maybe this was you. So we're driving, not a good story. So we're driving around Summerlin, and we want to look at a couple of houses, maybe buy 4 or 5 of them. So we're driving around, and we found a gated community. And I'm like, I would like to be in a gated community. I'm big enough of a jackass to want to be in here. So we can't get in to see the property. And so we called the number, right? It's working. The funnel's working. And Allison calls it. And I'm the one you should not be afraid of in the relationship. Allison is 5'4", the most gorgeous woman in the world, the sweetest person I've ever met, and she will stab you without blinking. She will cut you and laugh. So she calls and she's like, "Hey, we'd like to go see on this court. But there's a gate. You don't even have to come. We just want to come to see the property." And whoever answered the call, the person who was I don't know what you'd call it, the tire kicker, the person who vets the leads, whoever that is, says to her, and I quote, "Are you ready to buy now?" And I just see that look in Allison's eyes, and I'm like, what did I do? She just goes like this. And I'm like, oh, somebody's going to get stabbed. And Allison goes, "Pardon?" Now, I don't know about you, but when Allison says, "Pardon," she heard you. She just wants to confirm you're about to die. This is your one chance to say, "Oh, I'm sorry." She says, "Are you ready to buy now? We just can't have people going and showing houses willy-nilly." So I get out of the car and start running down the street. Someone's gonna die! So she's like, "What do you mean, like, can I put it on my debit now? Like, what are you saying?" And she's like, "No, we're not ready to buy now. As of now." Hangs up the phone. Now, whoever was fielding calls, the realtor, which maybe was you, ma'am, would never have gotten that lead. We could have bought the house that day. We could have bought it flat out. You'll never know. Be sure whoever you've got, if you have somebody else answering these things, is the best representation of you. I know you need to get rid of tire kickers. I understand that. I understand open houses and the neighbors walk in. "Hey, look at this neighborhood." I'm like, "You'd live next door. Get out of here," right? Yeah, I know your industry. Like, "You want cookies?" It was a spray. There's no cookies here at all, so get out. I know about the spray. I do. I know. So anyways, back to the unrealtor. So the unrealtor, so he sees it and he goes to research. So the Vegas 30 is that it's Vegas for people over 30. So the tagline is too old to stand in line, but too young to retire to the bingo hall. That's the tagline for the show. And in the show, we talk about Vegas for over 30. You're not 22, you're not 21. So we like to go, but we go to bed at 9. That's pretty much the deal for us in Vegas, because we're East Coast. It's like 4 a.m. here when it's dinner time. So he listens to that show. And on the show, one of the episodes he listens to, we talk about the amazing place here, donut shop called Ronald's Donuts. If some of you have had Ronald's Donuts here, some of you know it. Okay, yeah. See, how many people would clap for a donut shop? I would, by the way. I would totally clap for a donut shop. So Ronald's Donuts has 445 five-star reviews on Yelp. The next reviewed donut place is Krispy Kreme, and it has 11 reviews. People in the reviews say, "I rented a car solely to come to Ronald's Donuts." There's 27,000 things legally to do in Vegas, and they'll go do that. So we're like, we gotta go. So one day we're doing an event, and we're doing a workshop, so we had to get people to come into it was a concurrent at a conference. We needed to bribe people to come into ours, so we need donuts. So we drive to Ronald's Donuts. It's in Chinatown in Vegas. We drive out to this, it's a strip mall, and you drive in, you're like, what's wrong with this place? And you pull up in front of this, I think it says Ronald's Donuts, it's faded, and the windows are all papered up, and the sign says cash only. We're walking in, I'm like, this is where you buy heroin. And I'll take a chocolate glazed. I hope my eyes are glazed after this, huh? Too much, it was too much. Okay, good. And we walk in, and you're just like, oh, this smells amazing. And it is wicked. They have vegan donuts and gluten-free donuts, and then regular donuts that are tasty. And they have all these things. No shot against the vegans and the gluten people. You could probably kill me. So I just like donuts. So we go, we get like 6,000 donuts, and they're amazing. I think we ate half of them ourselves. So good. So we raved about these. And about 2 months or so after the talk I gave, there's a knock on our door. And Allison is downstairs. And she calls up to me upstairs and says, "Scott, there's free donut." And she gets the dough, and I'm already halfway down the stairs. Free donuts! And I run down, and I start shoving them into my pie hole. And she's like, "Don't you want to know who they're from?" I'm like, "I don't know, but he should come for a sleepover or something. We should be best friends." And I'm like, ah. And I look at, and there's a card, and it's just the 12 Ronald's Donuts from Vegas. And there's a card in it that says, I heard you like donuts. And it's from Petrus, and he's from Sotheby's Real Estate. And I see this card, and I'm just full of chocolate dip and glaze. And instead of wondering how did he get our home address, which in hindsight is a valid and still unanswered question, I'm thinking, is this going to be a weekly thing? Because I'm all for it. We weren't in the market for a house at the time, but I wasn't going to tell him that if donuts were going to keep coming. So I find him on Twitter, and I'm like, dude, donuts. That was the whole tweet, by the way. I didn't see all 110,000 were eloquent. And he writes back, he goes, hey man, I hope you enjoy them. I really enjoyed your talk. And I'm like, so what happens now? Because I already ate the donuts. And he's like, nothing. I'm like, you want me to buy a house now? He's like, no. I'm like, are you saying I can't buy a house now? I'll buy 3. Tell me what I can and can't. He's doing some kind of reverse ninja mind screw on me. You don't have to buy a house. Should I? What's happening? So it goes through all this. There's the donuts, by the way. The one on the left is like a foot. 6 seconds, right down the gullet, gone. Boom. As was the rest of them. Allison had none. So he didn't realize on that day we were going into the studio to record that month's worth of episodes for the show. So we brought the donuts with us. And who do you think we talked about on this show? Petrus the Donut Man. That's right. Fast forward about a year later, we realize we need a bigger frickin' house. Alice and I don't have 5 kids together. We merged families. There was a hostile takeover. There was some attrition. We lost a few of the children, but we kept the good ones. We had to double their work, but they're still happy to be part of the team. So we got this, and we realized we need to buy a house, and a bigger house. And we live in one of the most expensive towns in the country, right? So Allison calls him, and he's like, hey, Petrus, we're looking at buying she gets to buying, and he's at the door. Ding dong! He's like, hey! I was in the neighborhood. I was like 40 miles away. I've been sitting outside your house for 2 months. Oh, okay. And you're saying, I didn't get the end of what you're saying. You want to get a house? Is that right? I know people. I can get you a house probably. And then he was amazing. He was incredible. He blew our minds. And that's really the bigger part of this story. The donuts got him in the door, and it was phenomenal, by the way. But if he sucked at real estate, he would just be a crappy realtor with donuts. Right? You know what? He messed up everything. We didn't get the house we wanted. The foundation's crumbling, but he did bring us a dozen donuts. So I'm going to refer him to my friends. It doesn't happen that way. You're only good as that next step. Yes? He worked his ass off for us. We put an offer in, but on the first house we saw, we are the greatest clients of all time. We didn't get it. 4 days later, we saw another one before it went on the market, before they put the sign in the ground. And we got there, and they're putting the sign in the ground, like, put it down. And we bought it. And we bought it. Right there. That's us. Oh, one kid's missing. We found him. He was at college. So we found him. So this is the house that Donuts bought. This is what happened. And it worked. He worked his ass off for us, though. And this is, to be honest with you, this is the first time in my life I've bought a house. I've rented my whole life. Just from life and what happens in circumstances, I've rented. This is my first purchase. And it was a hell of a purchase in this place. And he worked so hard. I was being all, that guy. I'm like, the furnace, it looks pretty old. He's like, yeah, okay, of course. I can bring that up to the sellers, but there's 3 unconditional offers waiting after you. So you want to stick on the furnace? I'm like, no, the furnace is fine. It's fine. And I'm going to be honest with you, and I tell other people this, not just realtors. I don't know how people do it without a realtor. I don't know why people do it without a realtor, by the way. I don't know. I have no idea. Why would you do that? What's wrong with you? But I could sell it myself. Then sell it yourself. The for sale by owner world and stuff, never, ever, ever think you need to justify your commission. Because you don't. If they don't want to pay your commission, then they should not be your clients. You are worth it. I'm not trying to be motivational right now, but like a good parent, when I get angry, I also have to give you the good stuff. You are worth every penny and then some in this world. And there's plenty of people who appreciate it, but the people who don't and browbeat you on fee will take up 80% of your time, and then you'll be able to not service the good clients well. Let them sell it themselves. Let them go to a place that charges 8 cents on a sale, whatever that going rate is, the new thing. Let them sell it with an app. I don't care. Whatever that is, but when they come back to you because they can't do it themselves, I want you to promise me you will double your commission. You will charge them double. Even though I'm not sure you're allowed to. But anyways, but you see what I mean? There are enough people out there. Don't justify that side of your world and your business. So afterwards, after all this is done, we went out for dinner about 6-7 months later. That's Petrus on the far right. Allison, second from the right there. That's my wonderful wife. Lorene, Petrus' wife, on the second from the left, and that's myself. And we went out for dinner. And a friend of mine, see, we don't go out for dinner in town at home because please refer back to the 5 children thing we have. We never go out for dinner. But the one time, I swear, in 5 years, we went out for dinner at home, we went out with them. And a friend of mine said, I thought you didn't like realtors. I'm like, I don't. He's not a realtor. He's my friend. He's my buddy. And we are friends now. And I've also referred 6 people to him on top of that. But here's the thing. I don't want you all now to go out to Ronald's, well, I do, go eat their donuts because they're phenomenal. But I don't want you to go buy them and start giving them to everybody else. That's just because that's his personality. This isn't a tactic. His tactic is, I want to blow people's minds. He had another thing where he went to another house, and he was in the house, he was getting ready for an open house, and a neighbor came out who he didn't know, and she came out screaming at him. You realtors are all the same. He's like, hi. What's that? She's like, every week, realtors and developers come knocking on my door telling me they want to buy my house from me and they want to redevelop it and blah, 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 and I don't want to go anywhere. He's like, don't. It's yours. And she's like, we're not all the same. She's like, you're all vultures. She goes back in. He's like, okay. So he goes back in his house. A week later, he comes back and knocks on the neighbor's door. And she opens it and goes, what the hell do you want? She's like, ma'am, I went to the town hall and I got the zoning of the area. Here's the zoning of the area. If a developer comes back to your house and says they want to rezone this and do a whole different development, show them this. They can't. They can't. And then he handed her a bag. And inside the bag was a toy stuffed vulture. And if you ever try to steal the punchline again, I will not send you donuts. It will be something else. A toy stuffed vulture. How much do you hate him right now? He looked every interaction. It couldn't be an opportunity for a story because they all are stories, all of them. How will you deal with this? An $18 stuffed vulture? A dozen donuts? That somebody he knew, somebody at Sotheby's here, was coming back, and he said, could you bring these back? His friend, his other fellow realtor, flew back with the donuts on his lap on the flight. He had to declare them at customs. And then declare, donuts. Well, it is Canada, come on in. So that's his thing. But here's the thing. People are like, well, he's been doing it for a while, it's awesome. No, he had hurdles. He was new, not to the country, to the continent. 2 days before that, he had gotten to the town, before the event he saw me speak at. And he wasn't new to the continent, he was new to the hemisphere. He's from South Africa. Okay? He was a new real estate agent. He had run a real estate law firm in South Africa, but he was never a real estate agent. His brokerage does not have a huge brand presence where I live. I didn't even know Sotheby's did real estate. I thought they were an auction house in England that auctioned off Fabergé eggs. That's what I knew Sotheby's as. And in my town of 140,000 people, there are 1,400 real estate agents. And I had seen all of their billboards for the 30 years I'd lived there. And all of these hurdles, he said, I'm going to get this guy. That's who I want you to find. I want you to find the exponential referrer, the people that know people like myself, who was an influencer, as they say, and I've been in town for a long time. Look for them, find them. The people who know other business people, the accountants, the financial planners, those type of people, and you connect with those. Because the world is too big otherwise just to start shooting a shotgun approach on everybody. If you're going to be about community, this is a friend of mine, Melanie, who did this. She's in Fort McMurray, Alberta. You remember the town last year that was on fire? It hit the news. The entire town was on fire. That's Fort McMurray. And Melanie is so much about her town that during a slow time of the year, which is the same time every year there, she decides to do something about it. And she featured local businesses once a day for 30 days. She went in and interviewed them about their business, nothing about her stuff, nothing about real estate, for 30 days straight. Who do you think these people are going to look at as a real estate agent they want to use? And who will they tell? That's community to me. That's the way we should do things. One of the other things I get kind of angry about is the use of technology, for the sake of using technology. I don't even think that's my water. All right, so it's probably the dude with the gold jacket. All right, so sure there's nothing wrong with him at all. So my problem is when we use technology for the sake of using technology, and my poster child for this is QR codes. This is my problem. I'm a huge tech geek. I've been online since '94. I've been on every website on the internet. Every website on the internet, yeah, that one twice, yep. And the problem is I love the technology of QR codes. I hate the rollout, the implementation we've done. They've lived a wonderful life for decades on their own in fulfillment and logistics. My boarding pass on the plane, QR code. A sporting event concert ticket, QR code for the most part, awesome. But as a consumer thing, for marketing purposes, no good. Like we ship them all out to say, look at us, we use QR codes. And all the consumers are like, the what? Pitiful. This is a QR code made of Oreo cookies. Don't scan it, but just look at it. So, here's an example of an event trying to use it. This says download the John Deere Classic app. Great golf event, great golf tournament. I love golf. I'm terrible at it, but I do love it. And they said, download the app. People are walking around the tournament with their phone out. Perfect time, right? Perfect time. On the left-hand side of the screen, it says scan for iPhone app. On the right-hand side of the screen, it says scan for Android app, which is smart. They split the factions. Android people don't like iPhone people. iPhone people don't like Android people. And there's 9 Canadians in the background saying, we love BlackBerry. Like that's and 7 realtors. That's how it works. So this is smart, except for the sign beside it says use of mobile devices is prohibited in this area. Like right beside each other. And one of the biggest industries to use this poorly is real estate. Can you see the QR code? This is as close as you can get to this real estate sign from the road. This person got out of their truck to walk up to the sign to take a picture just for me so they could show me the QR code, which, by the way, you still can't see. Here's a QR code on a building, just in case Spider-Man was looking to scan something. I won't name the company that did this sign, but you can look at the color scheme. So, you'll figure it out yourself. So that's the problem. That's how we're going with these things. My favorite one, of course, is this sign, quiet neighbors across the street. If you didn't get the joke, if I have to explain it, it's not going to be funny anymore. It's a cemetery across the street, so that's why it's funny. So I actually really like that one. That was very funny. Here's a great one. Hey, John! How do we market better? Where is a place that people go that there's no advertising? How about where they urinate? I think you're onto something, Frank. Let's get on that. Everybody pee. Let's go. So this is how it works. Here's an example. This is an ad for a new home development. I'm going to wait until you find the problem with this photo. This is a thinker. Yeah, how do you get in the garage? Not exactly a multi-purpose property there. Now here's an example I want to give to you. This was on Facebook. I would blur out his name, but I won't. So this is Charles, and he sends a Facebook public post and says, okay, I just passed a house. The morgue was wheeling out a body. As a realtor, what should I do? I don't know, Charles. Go home? So you know what realtors have on Facebook, right? They have realtor friends. So they chime in. So I'm sitting there going, oh, this is going to be glorious. I'm like, this is going to go into a talk. It's so good. And I sit back with some popcorn. I'm like, come on, realtors. And the first one is keep driving. I'm like, oh, come on, Don. That is not helpful for my material. It's right, but not helpful. The next one is see if they need to list the house. Attaboy, Mike. Attaboy. Next one's Mary's like, keep driving. I'm like, oh, damn it. But wait a second. There's 4 periods after driving, which means she's not done yet. Do a mail follow-up or a cold call in a couple weeks. Hey, Charles, keep driving. But remember, they're dead. Remember that. Luke says, I'm sorry, my friend, I have morals. I like Luke. Connie says, send your consoles. I don't even know what that means. And a try of food. They'll love you for it. They will call you if they sell or refer you to people. How do you expect this to play out? Hey, Jeff, do you remember when Dad died? Yeah, of course I do. Do you remember who sent us their consoles? Yeah, she sent us an Xbox and a PlayStation. It was weird. I don't know why she did that. And a tray of Gouda. We should give her some business, because that's how these things work. Linda says, get the listing. You guys love exclamation points, don't you? Go get it. Vera says, I wish they had a thumbs down button for some of these answers. Sorry. Vera, don't ever be sorry for that. Charles then tags Luke and puts a question mark, meaning, what's your deal, bro? He's the one that said, I'm sorry, I have morals. Luke comes back and said, yes, there's some things I won't do. Thank you, Luke. So Luke has calmed it, obviously. Nobody else is going to no, they will. Charles says, come on, realtors, your wheels would be turning. Every occasion's an opportunity. And Leonard says, lawyers go to funerals, so should you. I don't want to hate you. I don't want to. But how can I not? And then, you know why? Because I stumble onto something like this, which is obituaryleads.com. And at the tagline, people helping people. Dead people. for only $1 per lead. I'm like, giddy up. So I click the button that says live support. The irony. And I click it, and I come in, and I don't want to use my real name, so I make up a fake one. I call myself Ria El Tor. It's not my real name. And John comes on. He's pretty excited because somebody came into his live chat. He deals with dead people. Hey, can I help you? Can you talk? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. I'm going to ask him a very simple question. Do you suggest leaving flyers in the casket or on top? John didn't like the question. And he left the room. So yeah. Remember the Unrealtor? Remember Petrus I'm telling you about? So, you think his story's done, and you think you hate him? Wait a second. So, after we bought the house, and it's all said and done, 6 months later, it's Christmas and Hanukkah time. We're from a mixed family, so I get latkes, and then I get turkey, and it's a month of wonderfulness. 26 pounds gained every December. It's glorious, and gifts aplenty. So, it's very simple. If I want something, I just buy it. That's how my life is. So he's like, well, he wants to get me a gift in this wonderful month of December. So I don't realize he's talking with Allison about it. And he finds out, he learns that I'm a big comic book fan. When I was 13 years old, I said, when I run a successful business, I'm going to buy these comic book statues. Because I saw them in the comic book store, and they're like $200 then. And I'm like, that might as well be $1 million to a 12, 13-year-old. But I'm like, when I'm successful, I'm going to buy these. And then, so I never was successful, but I still bought them. And I own 46 statues at home, all currently in storage. So, because I'm not a single bachelor with nothing to do. So, 5 kids. So, but he knows that, and he also knows my hatred of QR codes. And he also knows I have tattoos, right? You guys seen, there's a couple here, I think. And this says Unlearn, by the way. And I did a book signing at an event 2 years ago, and a woman walked up and looked at my arm and goes, oh, Unlearn. I thought it said unicorn. Why would it say unicorn? If I loved unicorns that much, why would I not put a majestic unicorn on my arm? And now I'm standing up here right now thinking, do they think it says unicorn? Whew. So it says Unlearn. It's not a brand thing. It's actually from a movie called Higher Learning from the early 90s. And it's about hate. It's about unlearning hate. Unlearning stereotypes, unlearning prejudice and racism and sexism and homophobia that we all need to unlearn so we can be a better world. So it's an important piece for me. That's why it's on my forearm. So he knows this. So he shows up. He sends me a text. He's like, Scott, I'm coming to give you your gift. I can't wait till Christmas. I have to give it to you now. I'm like, is it donuts? Because Merry Christmas. And he shows up with a brown manila folder. I'm like, that's not donuts. And I open it up. And he has custom ordered a original, one-of-a-kind illustration from a famous artist in our town of Wolverine slicing a QR code with my tattoo on the arm. And then I did something I never thought I would do. I hugged a realtor. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy your night. Thank you for bringing me in.